Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We are certainly happy to have you here for our video. Today we are going to make Mexican cornbread. Now, if you have our cookbook, it's called Come Sit at My Table, you can get this out and follow along with us if you'd like. The recipe is on page 48, so just turn to page 48 and we will make Mexican cornbread together. I do want to tell you just a little bit about this recipe while you're grabbing your cookbooks. This recipe is from my youth. This recipe is actually from a cookbook that the Women's Missionary Society at our church did when I was a sophomore in high school. Yes, I know, I'm as surprised as you are that the book is still holding together. It's an old one. And in this book, and let me tell you, I use this book a lot. It's not very big. Look how thin it is.
Those church cookbooks were the best, though.
Oh my goodness, the best recipes. And I still use it a lot to this day. And on page 31 in this little cookbook is this recipe for Mexican cornbread. It was put in the cookbook by a lady named Carol Stafford. Now, Carol was the president. If you look in the front of this book, you'll see that she was the president of the Women's Missionary Society the year that they made this cookbook. And Carol and her family were great friends of our family. I was friends with her 3 sons and have great memories of that family. So this recipe is always a little special, and when I make this recipe, when I make Mexican cornbread, I spend my time just kind of reminiscing and thinking about all the memories I have of them. So this is a wonderful little cookbook, and that's where the recipe comes from. I just wanted you to know where it came from today. All right, let's talk about what we're going to use to make our Mexican cornbread. We're going to start with 3 whole eggs and 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, or the oil of your choice. Of course, you will want it to be a flavorless oil. We're going to whisk those together. Then we're going to sift together 1/2 cup all-purpose flour, 1 cup yellow cornmeal, and this yellow cornmeal came from our Mennonite store, that is not ours, but the Mennonite store that is right up the street from our house, and I'm telling you, I love that little store. They have the best products.
Nicest people working in there, too.
They are the salt of the earth people. We love them. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And those 5 ingredients, the flour, the cornmeal, the salt, baking powder, and baking soda, will be sifted together, and we'll add that to the eggs and oil. Then we're going to stir in 1 cup of buttermilk. We will add 1 cup of Mexican style corn. Now this is easy to find. Every store that we have around here has this. Walmart, Kroger, it doesn't matter. They all carry this Mexican style corn, so I don't think you'll have a problem finding it. Then we're going to chop 1 onion and add it. We're going to use 2 jalapeno peppers that we will seed and dice fine, and 1/2 of a large green pepper that we're going to dice up. Then we're going to use 1 clove of garlic. If you buy this minced garlic in a jar, that's about 1/2 teaspoon, and 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. I'm using mild cheddar, but you can certainly use sharp or whatever you want. You use the cheese that you prefer. Okay, I have everything out we need, but before we can start mixing everything, we have to do some chopping. So we're going to chop our onion, our jalapenos, and our 1/2 of a green bell pepper. So let's get started doing that. Now I am taking the veins and the seeds out of the jalapeños. And you do want to make sure that you remove all the seeds and the veins, because that's where the majority of the heat is. And maybe you want to leave those in, but I wouldn't recommend it. So once you get all the seeds and veins out, that's what you should have to chop up. All right, let's chop them. The next step is that we need to put our eggs and oil into our bowl. And Melissa, I'm gonna grab a little spatula. Stay right there. Sorry. I'm sorry. I should have had that out already, because I want all that oil out of there. That's moisture.
I just wondered where you thought I might go.
Well, don't leave me. Okay. So we have the eggs and oil in, and we're just going to whisk those together. Really what you want to do is just break those eggs up and get them incorporated into that oil. Then we are going to sift together the dry ingredients. So I'm just going to scoot this back out of the way. You're going to need to do that in a separate bowl. So I'm just going to put my flour, the cornmeal, and the salt, baking soda, and baking powder right into the sifter. This is the coolest sifter. And that was a gift from one of our subscribers, and I'm telling you, it is just a wonderful sifter. Look at that. You don't really, well, it makes a little cloud with this, but you don't really have to do anything except sit there and hold it. Okay, that's it. Now, we're going to stir the dry ingredients right, actually, let me get rid of that whisk. Stir those in. Grab my spoon. We'll just stir those right into that egg and oil and add our buttermilk as we go. I'll set my buttermilk down a minute and get this started stirring up here. There we go. All right, let's add the rest of our buttermilk. And again, I'm going to scrape that out. Boy, this smells so good. Okay, now we want to get all of that incorporated. Just stir it together, make sure all that buttermilk is in, and scrape the sides of your bowl. Make sure it's all down in there. Scrape around the sides and bottom. And now everything else just gets stirred in. So in goes the corn. Oop.
That was about
Lost
one
the pepper.
can.
It was one, yeah, about what, an 11-ounce can?
Yes.
Okay. And half a teaspoon of our garlic. And then we're going to put in our onions, peppers, and jalapeños. And of course, we have to have our cheese. Now, you know, they do have a Mexican blend cheese now, I think.
They do. I bet that wasn't a thing.
Wasn't a thing back in 1977. So if you want to use that instead of the cheddar, help yourself. I think that would probably be wonderful. But because the recipe says cheddar, that's what I'm using today. I always want to make it the way the recipe says for you. But yeah, I think if you switched out the cheddar for the Mexican blend cheese, it would be wonderful. Now, our oven is preheated to 450 degrees. And I know that's a really high heat, but that is correct. All right. I'm going to use an 8-inch square baking dish, but let me show you. If you want to do it in a cast iron skillet, which is a great option, you would use a 9-inch round skillet. This works great. But the recipe says an 8-inch square baking dish, so that's what I'm doing today. And we're just going to pour it in there. Now I did grease the baking dish because we don't want this to stick. And I am switching out for my spatula again because I want all of that in there. So scrape off my spoon. Put that right there, and now I'm gonna scrape down my bowl. Somebody the other day said, "Where'd you get those little Barbie-sized spatulas?" Well, they came from a subscriber.
And they are great kitchen tools.
And they are wonderful.
Barbie sized or not, they really are.
Yeah. I think the person who said it was kind of making fun of them, but they just don't understand how great these are. They're easy to control because they have a short handle. You're right on top of that. So they really are nice spatulas. I love them. You can call them Barbie spatulas if you want to. That doesn't bother me at all.
Kind of gave us a good little chuckle, didn't it?
We did. We had a good laugh over that. It was kind of funny. Okay. Now, there's our cornbread mix. So we're going into the oven for about 30 minutes. You will want to make sure the center is firm. You may even want to use a toothpick to go into the center and make sure that it's done, that it comes out clean. And then we'll come back and taste it for you. In we go. Our cornbread baked for exactly 30 minutes. It's been out of the oven for a few minutes just to let it cool some before we cut it. It smells and looks wonderful. This is such a nice cornbread. And we're excited because we're getting ready to have a little rain shower, and Melissa and I are going to have some soup with our cornbread. So,
perfect rainy day meal.
Absolutely.
Or rainy afternoon meal. It's not been a rainy day, but it's turned into a rainy afternoon and evening.
It has. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that open. Put a little butter on it. Because, you know, you need a little pat of butter. Oh, it's already melting into there. Look at that. Yum. You have to have a little butter on cornbread, don't you?
It's going to be a good meal. I'm excited.
Are you taking a bite?
I'm just going to wait until we have our soup. I know I like it. We've had it before. It's really delicious.
You all, this cornbread is so good. Wow. So delicious. You have to try this. That's just good old eating. You know, just good old country eating. All right. Thank you so much for watching our video. We do appreciate it. If you would, we'd like to ask you to go right below this video and click the thumbs up button. It's the like button. If you haven't before, we invite you to click that subscribe button, the little notification bell beside of it in the word all. Right below the video is a description box. It will say Mexican cornbread. If you click in that box, it will expand. Melissa always puts a written recipe right there for you. Under that recipe is our mailing address if you want to send recipes to us. And under that is a link to our cookbook where you can find the Mexican cornbread recipe on page 48. So all you have to do is go down there and click that Amazon link in the description box, and you can order our cookbook if you'd like to do that. We invite you to do it. Also, at the very bottom of the page, there's a place for you to leave a comment, and we love hearing from you, so go down there and leave us a comment. We'd like to read what you have to say. Thank you so much for watching. We do appreciate you being here, and we want you to remember that you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.